Hey, AP Physics students. Today, real quick, we're going to talk about unit summaries and how you're going to conduct those for each of the units for AP Physics class. So we're going to look at the document for unit summaries and go through this quickly here. And I'm going to move my face up here to the top real quick. So unit summary instructions. For every single unit, you're going to have to summarize what you've learned before you take your AP classroom tests or your practice problems that are through there that are specific to what the AP test will look like. You're going to do this by finishing up everything else. So you'll be almost done by the time you get to these for each unit. You'll put together a unit summary with the knowledge that you've done so far, okay? If you have an idea beyond what I've got listed here and shown examples and resources and all that stuff, then by all means, let me know. And if you have a better way to summarize something, I'm totally okay with that. Just make sure you let me know and then we'll talk about it, okay? This should go in onto your AP Physics portfolio, and we'll talk about how to do AP Physics portfolios in class, but post it before the end of the unit, and you may not, this is very important, so I want to make sure that we can see that fully. You may not use the same summary type 2 units in a row. I'm not going to let y'all just pick one that you're super comfortable with and use that the whole time. We're going to use different things to learn here to make sure that you're learning as well as you can, okay? So you've got different summary types going through here. I put an example of each so you can kind of see what they all look like. An explanation is linked for each one. They can be a little more in depth. I'm going to give brief explanations now, but if you want more information on it, you can check right there. And then I've also given you some resources to do this with to make sure that you don't have to try to figure it all out on your own. Okay, so you have everything you need right here. You just need to think of the way that you want to summarize each unit. The first one is a mind map. So we start with a central topic and we branch off from there. All right, so you would go from something very broad to more specifics as you go down the chains, and you see how they all kind of branch out as they go along. So your major topics go out from there, and then your more minor portions of that out from there, so forth and so on. Again, explained better here, and there are some different links that can help you out with this there. A word cloud takes all terms associated with something and turns it into this big cloud, okay? And what it does is the terms that are most commonly used show up the biggest. And again, that's explained here a little bit more in depth also, and some options for how to do that, including one here that is a plugin for Google Chrome. That's the one that I've used to make a lot of these things that I do. And so that one you just put right in your browser. You don't have to run something separate. That's pretty nice. The next one is Sketchnote, and it is what it sounds like. It's a way to sketch out your notes. If you are going to college, I'm going to suggest you do this at some point at least once, all right? Because Sketchnote is going to be really helpful for visualizing your notes as opposed to just writing things out. But what it is it combines drawings and terms and a lot of arrows and directional stuff and things like that to help you understand how things flow together. So once you've got an understanding of the material, you'll be able to make a sketch note. Now, Verbal to Visual does an explanation for how to do this. And I only linked Schrock's guide here because there are like 20 different things on there that show you how to do this stuff. A lot of these may be done either by hand or with like a Google drawing or something along those lines. It's a little more freehand. If you want to do it on like a whiteboard, if you have it at home and use that, that's totally fine too. You can just take a picture. But there's a lot of different how-tos as to how to do this on that one. I highly suggest everybody do this at least once. Next one will be a Venn diagram. So you can take your Venn diagrams here where you have each circle relating to some sort of topic, and then where you have the spots where they overlap, you put the things that relate to numerous different topics that are the same there, okay? Again, Investopedia explains a little bit better here what's going on, but I think most of us have seen a Venn diagram. But real quickly here, this one says particles, so anything listed right there is only particles. Anything here is just waves and fields, so forth and so on. Anything that's in this spot right here where they overlap has to be included in both of those. And then you've also got special relativity here, and everything in the middle would be included in all of that. Now, before you freak out, this is not something we'll actually have to cover for this class, so don't worry about that. It's just meant to be a physics example of what's going on. I want to note here for the Venn diagrams, you need to have at least 3 circles. You can't do just 2 circles for your Venn diagram. Make sure you have at least 3 circles if you do a Venn diagram. And there's some links, obviously, as well that will allow you to make them online, and then you can just save it and post it on your website. The last thing, and I will go ahead and say I put this one last on purpose, because while I think it's probably the most helpful for you to study later and is going to be the most informational overall, it's probably also going to be the most time consuming. So I do think, and this is a little bit of a challenge, only our most elite students will probably try to do some infographics. But you see it's got pictures and words, and it really combines a couple of these different things kind of with your mind map, a little bit maybe of the word cloud idea, some of your sketch note stuff. I mean, it puts it all together. Now, it will allow you to take pictures and insert pictures. So that's something that if you're not artistic or you want to do it that way, that totally works. But explained infographics are here a little bit in depth. And Canva, which is mentioned a couple times here, so that's one you'll probably use a lot. And Pictochart are great ways to do this as well. So I've done infographics in some other classes also, and these turn out really well in most cases. Finally, I want to make sure to summarize what you've got going on here, okay? Number one, this should include all major topics covered in the unit and some level of details regarding them. So like your big topics, and then break them down into more details. Make sure this has all of the terms in it that should be necessary, so forth and so on. Include all major topics and some level of detail for each major topic. This should explain concepts, not numbers. Don't show me an example problem in anything like this, okay? You'll have practice problems to show the numbers, and I don't want to be redundant. I'm not trying to just give you busy work. This is to help you visualize the whole idea and concepts all together now that you've learned them all. So this should cover concepts, not numbers. This should be a very helpful aid when returning to topics to study for the AP test. Because we're fall semester and the AP test is late in the spring, that bridged gap there is really tough for a lot of students. This will have these all then saved for you on your portfolio, and you'll be able to study these really easily. And since you've made them, they should really help out for studying for the AP test. It should be aimed at what you wanted to know when you first began the unit. I think that's a great way to think about this. So now that you've covered all this material, think back to when you first started the unit and say, what were the big questions I had? What did I need to know? That's the stuff you want to make sure that you include here, okay? And be creative. These are meant to help you, so don't shortchange yourself at the end, all right? This is where you will do your best studying for this material and these tests, is by thinking about the concepts as a whole and not getting too bogged down in the numbers. So be creative with this and make these really cool. I'm really excited about doing these. So we'll talk more about how to post these later. I'll see y'all then.